Hey BookTube, it's Peg back at the History Shelf. Thank you for checking in on my channel. This is actually my fourth time attempting to film this. My little Chihuahua Gidget insisted on playing with her squeaky toy several times, and the volume was very loud. And now she's finally in her bed looking at me like, what? I didn't do anything. Yeah, so anyway, this video is just going to be a quick update on some of the books I'm reading right now. You've seen most of these in my October TBR video, but a couple are new. Things that I keep on my nightstand or I read in bed, and some different choices I made as far as fiction goes. So I thought I'd just give you an update. We'll start with my selection for a mystery. Everyone gave me such great feedback in the Mystery Minute video that I posted last week or so, and I had some great choices to choose from. But I had actually had Anne Cleeves's book, RavenBlack, buried in a pile somewhere, and I was like, you know what, I need to give this Shetland series a start. And wow, page turner. I'm already on like 100 pages in, chapter 13, and it's just, the writing is just, it's dense, it's tight, it's fast paced, it's characterizations are on point. It just flows, it's moving, and I love it. So this has been a surprise, and I'm sure I'll continue on and maybe get the second book in the series. So this is what I'm reading right now, RavenBlack by Anne Cleeves. As far as history goes, I am into The Will of the People, The Revolutionary Birth of America by T.H. Breen. It's very interesting thus far. I'm a couple of chapters in. The premise thus far is that Breen is basically saying that the people in revolutionary America, or right before the revolution began, they had different reasonings for rising up, and a lot of them didn't come to the conclusion that we needed to break away from Great Britain. It was a influx of different factors that a lot of them emotional, that kind of spurred people to act locally, and that eventually gave the support to the founders, who they Breen kind of paints as the highly educated, moneyed elites, the intellectuals, who were being driven by Enlightenment principles, whereas the people were being driven by more basic things, taxation, the burden of blows to their pride, such as they didn't like it when the Parliament would pass these acts that basically acted like they were inferior to British people back in the homeland. So what Breen does is he's trying to break out in each chapter an emotional environment that these people felt, and how they reacted in that emotion, such as rejection, assurance, fear, betrayal, all the way to the end where they have revenge, and then reconciliation when some of the loyalists who left America to avoid the war tried to come back, and then how these people, the people who rose up, whether they accepted them or not. So it's really intriguing, and of course I'm only like 40 pages in, but already he's laying out a really interesting argument. And when I review a book, I like to take notes, so I have these little journals right here, just kind of taking notes as I go. These are nifty. They're really nice and skinny. You just pair them up with the book that I'm reading and reviewing, annotating, because I don't like to use ink in nice books like this. I might use a pencil, but for this I'm writing my notes down. So let's see if I can not make any noise over there. Okay. And then also at night I like to read something spiritual, and since I'm a Christian, I like to read commentaries, and right now I'm almost finished with The Message of Acts by John R.W. Stott. And I don't know if many of you are familiar with him, but he was very famous theologian and apologetics guy. Anyway, this is the Bible Speaks Today series, so it's very readable, it's very accessible. And this is a book where I will underline and write in the margins. I mean, I have, things that are like underlined. I like to be able to, things that I think are very profound or mean something to me personally, I will underline and maybe mark, so that later on when I'm paging through or just skimming through, they jump out. And I like this book. It really has really some nice give to it, so it's easy. But I got about this much left. There's some notes in the back, so maybe about 100 pages left on this, and then I'll select another book from the Bible to study in depth like this. I like to go verse by verse and see what other theologians have written over time. Again, I mentioned I have an ancient series, which I will show eventually. I've got a lot of things to show on my BookTube channel, so we're just taking it bit by bit. Anyway, and then of course I'm also reading for Victore, so this is keeping me busy. This is Thomas Carlyle, Sartor Resartus. It's a very lovely cover. So far my thoughts on it. I have to admit I'm going slowly through it because it's written, obviously Victorian writing is a little bit more challenging. And in this case, Thomas Carlyle, he was a philosopher, historian, essayist. He writes, it's supposed to be a work of fiction, but it's kind of written as if it was some type of philosophical treatise. But parts of it are very intriguing. So basically, so far I've been introduced to the editor. The narrator is the editor, right? And he's narrating, or he's editing the book on the history of clothes that Professor Teufelsdrock, which I guess in German means, and I know Kathy at Grim Reads can correct my German here, but Teufelsdrock, I think it means the devil's excrement or something like that. And he's from the land of Wasnichtu, which I guess means no not where or something like that. So it's interesting. The glossary in the back is the explanatory notes in this Oxford World Classics is very helpful. As you're going through it, there will be an asterisk next to something in German or a name that references something that we have no way of knowing what it was. So these explanatory notes in the back are very helpful. But I thought I'd just read just a short paragraph just to give you a flavor of what it is I'm reading. I just need to put on my glasses for up close. Okay, so here we go. Here's a little bit. In our wild seer, shaggy, unkempt, like a Baptist living on locusts and wild honey, there is an untutored energy, a silent, as it were, unconscious strength, which, except in the higher walks of literature, must be rare. Many a deep glance, and often with unspeakable precision, has he cast into mysterious nature, and the still more mysterious life of man. Wonderful it is, with what cutting words, now and then, he severs asunder the confusion, shears down, were it furlongs deep, into the true center of the matter, and there not only hits the nail on the head, but with crushing force smites it home and buries it. On the other hand, let us be free to admit, he is the most unequal writer breathing. Often after some such feat, he will play truant for long pages, and go dawdling and dreaming, and mumbling and maundering the merest commonplaces, as if he were asleep with eyes open, which indeed he is. So that was a little bit of Sartor Resartus. That is the editor describing Professor Teufelsdrock. So essentially, he's talking about how they sit up in his attic that has a 360 view of the city, and how the professor they wait for him to open his mouth and for wisdom to fall out and what he says. So we're getting deeper in, and hopefully the next chapter, we're going to actually hear more of Professor Teufelsdrock's his philosophy on life and clothes. So that's what it's all about, after all. Okay, so we're at 10 minutes, and this was a rather long-winded way to say these are the things I'm reading right now. I'm sure I will pick up more as I continue in. I will keep you updated. Thank you for tuning in. I will probably make another video on something else. I haven't decided just yet, but it's coming, so be warned. All right, guys, so that's it for now. I will talk to you soon, and have a great night, and happy reading. Bye.